Welcome to IkeSat Podcast. Soy Jasmine junto con
Marta.
Jessica.
Somos hijas y hermanas explorando el complex journey de grief and healing. Queremos abrir conversations de duelo, ese tema that everyone avoids, pero es tan esencial para healing. En cada episodio vamos a share personal stories, interviews y tips para coping. You'll hear heartfelt conversations from us and guests that have gone through loss. We'll also talk about different types of grief. Whether you're grieving or supporting someone que está en duelo, te invitamos to join us. Juntos podemos crear una comunidad that truly understands los complejos de grief. Thanks for being here. Let's grow esta comunidad together porque grieving together means healing together. El tema de hoy es dos caminos ante la pérdida. Duelo repentino versus duelo anticipado. Two paths through loss, sudden versus anticipatory grief. The two types of grief that we're going to be talking about today is, for example, Martha and Jessica both lost their mom to a sudden death. It wasn't expected. For me, I'll be talking about anticipatory as to where I was expecting my brother's death and how that was like for us. So we're here to kind of dispel that truth about, or that one is easier than the other.
As you guys know, Martha and I both lost our moms suddenly. Martha, I want you to talk to me about your mom and what she meant to you.
My mom was such a big part of our lives, just mine, but our kids. You know, we had that mom and that grandma que estaba bien apegada a sus nietos y a sus hijos. It wasn't that kind of loving, hugging, or she was the grandma. The grandma sí así era, bien cariñosa, pero de mamá siempre fue bien fuerte. And we all grew up that way. You know, we kind of like just very, very loving in her own way. You know, with food, with her plants, picking up the phone, which I miss the most, just to call me over to go eat. Probably obviously not one of the hardest things, but one of the things we all miss the most is just hearing her say, ¿a qué hora van a llegar a comer? Les hice tal y tal y tal. And just not having that, or just random conversations, right? My mom meant more than being a mom. She was just more like mi amiga. Hacíamos cada mensadas juntas, you know, de ir a las tiendas, ir a comer, tomar fotos cuando íbamos a comer para darle celos a los demás that we were out eating alone and no one was with us, and like, oh, let's take a picture and show everybody that we're eating together, and like having those bragging rights to be able to share with our siblings. But she was just la compañera de la tacita de café. Me peleaba con ella all the time. All the time we would argue back and forth because we had that relationship. Like I said, you know, it was just that mom, but more than that, it was that friendship that you knew you could piss her off in a second and you were okay with it. And she was just going to be like, okay with it as well. And you guys were just going to make up. I mean, sorry, I wouldn't say normal. Before my mom was kind of sick in and out, y hubo un tiempo donde we were just always here because se sentía mal. And so we're starting to question if it was just like in her head, porque se la llevaban al hospital por infección tras infección. Y the last 2 weeks, my mom was alive. And me echaba mucho en cara in messages that I wasn't around like I used to be. But I just wanted, you know, me, when I'm in work mode. And that's it with the business, with the company I work for. Y so la descuidé a ella. And I remember the last Saturday I could have spent with her, but she would always invite us to the casino or to dinner, right? And that last Saturday, I remember getting out of work from the spa. And I text Joe and I said, hey, let's meet up for lunch with you and Aaron because I haven't seen Aaron in 2 weeks. Because, you know, hey, your mom's asking for you que si vas a venir a comer carnitas. She knows I don't eat carnitas. And he's like, pues no más porque no la has visto y está sentida contigo. And I was like, I'll call her later porque va a salir and I'll see what she's doing later. Pero ahorita, let's meet up you and Aaron and I y a ver qué hacemos. So así llegó. Llegó la tarde y le dije, Mom. So I said, bueno, pues bye. No quiero saber nada de ti. And she goes, sí, bye. And that's the last message she sent me. That she never sent me another message. And Tuesday was Saturday. Sunday, we were supposed to go over and make carne asada for her. And I was so mad at her porque no me invitó al casino y no fui. La castigué y no fui. I said, I'm not going to go porque anda de mula. Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. Mi dad me mandó un text, hey, mi hija está el juego. And I go, pues mi mamá no me ha invitado. Pues tú ven, yo te estoy invitando. This is how we would argue. We would kind of give each other the cold shoulder. And I showed up, hizo cóctel, and she didn't want to eat with us. Estaba sentada en el sofá. And then Wednesday at 1:00, I got the call from my dad crying, and I was just screaming at him, like, your mom's not okay. I can't wake her up. Please come in the car. I go call the ambulance. And I took off with jeans and sandals. I was at home because I was going to eat lunch. And Joe was in a meeting. I think I have to go. Something's wrong with my mom. But I didn't think it was that bad because we were so used to getting those calls. I just thought, okay, my voice, but not to the point that I knew that I would lose her. That's the last time I saw her with the paramedics. No consciente, pero a little bit.
Let's fast forward a little to all the details, like obviously that we're probably getting into. But when did you realize? Tell us when you realized something's wrong. Like that moment. Take us there.
That was hard.
Take your time.
And that's important for us to remember that, these questions are triggering, even for our viewers, where the 2-3 viewers that we have right now. You're gonna, as we're asking each other these questions, they're gonna get triggered, and you're gonna walk through your thoughts. But it's not. It's part of grieving. So just
I'll tell you when I knew something was wrong. We were in the hospital for a while. Nana, pero estaban todos ahí, and I was like, why is everybody here? Yo me escondía de todos because I just didn't want to see anybody. I didn't know what was going on, and it was just me and my dad trying to get answers from the doctors. Finally, me dejaron entrar when I walked in and I saw the chaplain. That's when I knew that I was going to lose my mom. And the chaplain said, I'm just here for support. I looked at him. He goes, your mom's okay. I go, no, she's not. Y en eso pasaron otra hora y no nos dejaban verla. She was already in trauma by that point. Right? And no nos decían nada. We were just there with a chaplain. And until my dad got up and he would keep on pacing the hallway, the private room. I couldn't be in there with the chaplain. So we asked him to leave, right? And then nothing against the chaplain, but we were so confused and no one was giving us any answers. Y en eso se levantó mi dad, se asomó donde estaba el trauma center. And there was a chaplain outside of my mom's door. And y en eso vino el doctor lleno de sangre. And when I saw his eyes, I screamed. I can still hear that scream. Y me caí al suelo. Me quería morir. Me caí al suelo. That scream is embedded in me forever in my brain. And me dijo una CNA, la said, hey, she's fine. I go, no, she's not. And her eyes were black. My mom did not have black eyes. Her pupils were big and they were black. And I go, she's gone. And they're like, no, she's not. I'm not going to go into details, but they said she went into cardiac arrest and that it was going to be a long night for us and they were going to move her to the ICU. Y así nos dijo, lo último que nos dijo el doctor is it's going to be a long night for you guys. But I had to pick up the phone and call my sister and my brother and let them know that she was stable because I couldn't tell them she's not going to make it. They were driving over. ¿Cómo les voy a decir?
after you guys got the news that she had passed, what were those 4 hours like for you?
I don't remember anything. I just remember I felt like I was floating. Y me despedí de ella. I said, pues ya me despedí. I'm not going to go back. And I just fell apart. Y they said they were going to give us 1 more hour with her. We wanted to go back. Y al último, when she was already about to be taken away, me dio las ganas de ir y abrazarla. I knew I wasn't going to hold her. So I ran in and I hugged her and she already had fluids coming out of her. And they were going to take her away. And I don't remember anything. I just remember pretending like I was okay. You know what? That's something so important right now because everybody thinks you're okay because you're smiling and you're going out and you're showing up to work. You're falling apart.
Yeah. Do you remember the shock that you felt in your body?
The first shock was when I fell to my knees. That was the first shock. The second shock was the following day, and I was screaming. I fell to my knees. You never knew how, someone never knows how weak their knees are, right? Because how do you fall to your knees knowing that it's going to hurt? You just do. Still, I'm in shock. And I don't know when that feeling's going to go away, but it's debilitating.
That's those are all the feelings we feel when you lose somebody suddenly. Yeah, I went through all those similar emotions. My mom was a little bit, you got to say goodbye or hold the time for your siblings to get there. For me, well, my mom is the pillar of our family. The dad. I am a daddy's girl. I'm really close to my dad, and we fight to be his favorite. But when I lost my mom, I realized that I was always yearning to be a mommy's girl. I did everything with her. We traveled, we joked. Mi amara, kind of like Martha's mom. Not cold with us, but, just not as lovey as she was con los nietos, but with us, just a little just more reserved. We knew she loved us. She didn't say sorry. She would just tell you. But me and her relationship was awesome. We would joke, we tell each other dirty jokes. We were really close. So what did my mom mean to me? She's my everything. To this day, she's my everything. I don't do anything without keeping her in mind or for her. That's how I live my life every day. I valgo por ella. I think about her. So obviously, my mom is my everything. And I realized that after she passed. When she was alive, you know, I'm daddy's girl. I hope she knows and feels that she is our everything. I can say that for all of us, the center of our world. That was my mom. My last day with her is funny, but I had to go to the gym, and I was working out with the trainer at the time, and I moved my schedule to go in early so I could have the afternoon off. But ya me iba, and here come my dad and my mom, and then I didn't know they were coming. I had opened the garage, and there's my mom and my dad. I'm like, what happened? So we got to talk to you. I go, about? At the time it was about. And then I'm like, well, can I go to your house after, or can I come back? And mi mamá está parada en el garaje the first. She's like, vámonos, Mari, vámonos. Like, ya está ocupada, se tiene que ir. And I knew she was tiff. But I'm like, you didn't tell me you were coming, and I have it's an appointment with the trainer. Like, I can't reschedule you. Then you have 5 minutes to get there. Me always running late. And my mom's like, vámonos, vámonos. And I could still see her in the garage, and I'm like, yeah, Mom. Like, you didn't tell me you were coming, lady. You didn't even call me or text me. I didn't know you were coming. So I was like, okay, it could like, vámonos, vámonos, vámonos. And then I'm like, all right, but I'll see you later. And that was it. She left. I went to my training. I called her after the training. No me contestó, which I expected because I knew she was going to be pissed. That's the last time I physically saw my mom. She was not happy and irked that porque I didn't stop, drop, and roll for her. That weekend, they did like a carne asada or something at her house, my mom's house, and she was choppy, pero se le cayó el cuchillo and it cut her foot. She went to urgent care or the hospital, and le curaron, and the girls are like, hey, my mom se cortó el pie. So, because like Marta, they wouldn't call us. They would give us like the cold shoulder, the
Yeah.
little, like, yeah, hasta que se le bajaba me hablaste. She wasn't texting me or calling me. So I called her and I go, Marta, ¿que te quisiste suicidar? And she's like, sí, ¿qué? And she's like, yeah, dijo pendeja yo. And then I go, are you okay? Okay, me duele mucho. And then I go, pues no tiene, she goes, I go, no tiene nada de dolor. She's like, no, es que no sean para nada aquí. I go, pues toma Tylenol. Like, sí, ya sé, I lo voy a hacer. I go, and she's, because I was coming out of the gym. She's like, okay. Well, the next day was Monday, and I didn't see her. I didn't go see her. I went to work like every day. My sister Sandra called me, and I picked it up. She's like, Jess, I just called us. My mom's in the waiting room. I knew she was going to Phoenix that day, so she went to Phoenix with my dad, my sister, and my niece. She's like, Paula just called me. My mom's coughing up blood in the waiting room. I go, what? And I go meet her. I hung up, and I don't even remember how. I just remember getting up at the time. So I was like, I gotta go. Something's wrong with my mom. I hung up, and we met at my mom's legit, like in 10 minutes. Toda. And we knew we had to go to Phoenix. We jumped in the car and we went to Phoenix, and that's when I knew something was wrong. I just felt it. It didn't seem right.
What were the first hours like, Jessica?
Well, I didn't even get to the hours because we're on our way to Phoenix. Like I told you guys in the first podcast, my sister is three-way with us. There's two cars going. Half my sister's on one side, half my sister's on the other. We all are on speaker, and she told us, "Hey, Monday, she's gone." There wasn't hours for me. It was a second that I felt like my life was ripped out of me, and we were trying to meet, and we couldn't for whatever reason. And it was just I didn't even trying to get I couldn't get to the hospital fast enough, even though I knew he was gone. But it was like, but I don't even remember because it was just a blur and a shock. It, I just knew I had to get to the hospital. I just wanted to see her because they had to take her. So they were like, "How long do you guys have to get?" Like 40 minutes. My mind was just like pedal to the metal. I want to get to my mom. And those were the first hours. I knew she wasn't there anymore. I'm walking in the room. My dad's in the corner with his hand like this, and my baby sister's there. And, we just all hovered around my mom. I hugged my dad. I don't even remember, guys. And we just hovered around my mom for hours. They had to stay with her. We all kissed her, touched her hand, combed our fingers through her hair, everything. And just my life flashed before my eyes. Everything I did with her, everything I said, everything I didn't say. I didn't call her. I shouldn't have gone. Everything just goes through your head when they're gone.
Guilt.
The guilt, the love, the I should have, everything. That's what was going through my head. I just remember looking at her hand. I wanted to remember vividly, like sus manos. So I held them a lot. I looked at her feet. I wanted to remember sus pecas. I wanted to remember how her skin felt, how she smelled. I just was taking it all in because I had already felt lost. And I didn't want to lose that with my mom. So as I'm hugging her, that's what I was taking in. Her scent, her skin, the hand, her nail beds, she had a scar. And I looked at it for a minute, what felt like the whole time, because I didn't want to forget that scar. It made her unique. Yeah, everything was absorbing the last minutes they gave us of her physical body, even though her soul was gone.
How long did your shock last? I know that you had mentioned in the last episode about how you were in shock in the car, but like even after you went through all that at the hospital, how long did you stay in shock and how did you feel it?
I was in shock the whole way back, like the whole day. The drive back is a blur. I just remember us stopping at a rest area, the sun setting, and thinking my mom saw the sunrise, didn't see the sunset. I took a picture. The shock. We pulled up to my mom's house, and the shock kind of got me. My mom will never be in her house again. Like it felt different. We had to drive to Phoenix, come back without her. And what happened? My life just switched and my life changed. I'm motherless now and I wasn't ready for, not that anybody's ever ready, but I didn't expect it that Monday, that she wasn't sick. Like Martha's, mom had health problems. So you kind of, oh, well, we should have seen it coming. We didn't. My mom wasn't sick. She wasn't the healthiest, but she wasn't sick. So that the shock comes in waves for me. Like, it's different. My shock's a little different. I was in shock when I got there. I came home in the morning. I woke up to one of her songs. That was another shock. Getting to her house the next morning and then people visiting us was like, so no me pegaba the shock. It just came in waves for
Yeah.
me. But the loss of losing somebody, people think, oh, you're lucky. You didn't see them suffer, and then there's that place where like, but I didn't get to say goodbye.
Yeah.
She didn't see me. I didn't get to say I love you. You te quedas con esa angustia. Like, are we lucky? I didn't say goodbye to my mom. She didn't see me. You know what I mean? My mind didn't prepare for it. Like now she's gone. And here's like this new life, this new shock of like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And that's like our mindset. I know for you, Jasmine, if you want to, explain to us like, what did Ernie mean to you?
Ernie to me, well, my old I'm the baby. He was the one up from me, the third one. I was the fourth. So we were pretty close, in age. So he's like embedded into my, my life. Like as children and as adults, we had a very good relationship. He meant everything to me, all my siblings, my family, everybody that knows me. I love my siblings and my family deeply. I never had any fights with him. We got along really well and he just always was my protector growing, even as an adult. He was always so proud of me and he meant the world to me. All my siblings do. I don't know how to say it, but he meant the world to me.
You were closer to him, so you guys were like that click, I would imagine.
Yeah. All of our childhood memories, like, because we were closer in age to like the other two. Like my mom took us to the fair together. We went to the bus stop together, like everything together. Um, I know it's the silly things that you're like, you live with someone your whole life or growing up, and you don't realize like those everyday things that you do, but those are the things that, bring you together or closer together, I guess, that you wouldn't imagine. But like, yeah, walking home from going to school, walking home from school, and he would always check up on me in school. He always was just so protective of me. And even growing up as a teenager, once I started having boyfriends, he protected me then. Like had that talk with my boyfriends, or, had little arguments with whoever did me wrong. He was a really good brother. I just love him.
Can you tell us a little bit of tell us a little bit about his diagnosis?
So, he was officially diagnosed with esophageal cancer in September of 2022. Um, Prior to that, he was already having a lot of gastric issues. So he was already like losing weight, and physically it was showing. People would be like, "Oh my God, is your brother okay?" People who hadn't seen him in a long time were already like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "He can't eat that much. He has gastric issues." And they were really bad, like to the point where he had gone to the hospital like 2 or 3 times. And they would just tell him that he had like GERD, an ulcer. And then I think he went like in April. And then in September, they were like, "It's cancer." And he was like, "I knew something was wrong. Um, he was in the hospital for like 5 days. Yesterday was the anniversary of when we found out on my sister's birthday, actually, that he had cancer. Um, after that, September 2022, decided he didn't want to do medical treatment and he was all about holistic. So we took him to Tijuana. He did about almost 2 months out there, 6 weeks or so of it just got really pricey and we couldn't keep up with it. So then in January, he started chemo and he really was reluctant to it. He did not want to do chemo. He went in with like a not the most positive mentality. Like he was like, "All right, here I go." And I'm like, "This is the resources we have. And, we got to utilize insurance right now. Like we can't. I'm sorry. I wish I could have done more for him in that sense, like, of the treatment he wanted to continue." But anyway, fast forward, he had cancer for about 2 years. In May of 2024, he told us that he had about 6 months to live. And so when I was with him when the doctor told us that, and I don't know if his reaction was like relief when the doctor told him. I actually have it recorded. Um, I just remember that he just like, like he put his hands up and he was like, I don't know if he thought relief, like, okay, like he's tired of fighting at that moment. And he was like, God, he just said like, God, God. And then I wasn't sure. So I was in shock with him and I didn't know how to react to that. I was like, what, I wasn't prepared to hear that. I think I was coming in like, what's our next option? Um, so then that was in May of 2024. And he was like, okay, so then we're driving home and we're having this whole conversation about how he wants to just he's not, doctors don't know what they're talking about. He's very optimistic, right? He switched his perspective from like what he reacted to at the doctors to now we're driving home. He's talking about, I'm going to do this. I know that I could try A, B, and C. And so then here we are, about 6 months later, he had the relapse right around Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving Day, he called us and he told us, I can't go over to mom's. Can you guys come over here and do a prayer for me? So we all went over there and we all did a prayer for him. And he wasn't very mobile at that time. He needed a lot of help getting up and moving around. So when we went, we did a prayer, and then his after that, his daughter took him to the hospital, and um, they told us to come. That they, again, they were like, he doesn't have much time left. Where they really push for hospice, and it's really hard to. I kind of was ready for that conversation, but I was like, I can't do this again. I had already had that conversation with my mom, and I said, can you guys please explain this to my mom, because I can't do it again, and she's not accepting it. And I just needed her to hear it from like a medical perspective. So yeah, they told us that he's basically has very little time, and he wasn't able to eat much anymore. And he lasted about, so that was Thanksgiving, and he lasted about until about 2 more weeks after that, with another relapse, because hospice didn't come through the way they were supposed to the first time around. And they found him unconscious, sent him to the hospital. The only reason he was alive was because this bag of sugar was keeping him alive. When we brought him home, we knew he didn't have much time. We brought him home on a Thursday. He passed away Sunday night, Monday morning, 1 in the morning. Um, but yeah, it happened slowly, but we saw his health deteriorating pretty quickly.
Explain or help us explain, like, what is it like watching somebody change over time? Like, you're so close to Ernie, they're so independent, to see that change. Like, what was that like?
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because you want to remain hopeful, and you just see that there's nothing you can do, as much as I'm gonna speak for me. It was like, I was his go-to. Like, all right, so I read this and I heard that, high doses of vitamin C help. So I took him to algodones to do high doses of vitamin C. And he says, I heard this. So I was on it, and I did like a whole research. I did a treatment plan for him, like a holistic one. I went to all the clinics and I researched, this is what they're doing. This is going to be my version of it. I can't afford the clinic, so this is what we're going to do. And I bought him all the supplements, all the things. And it was because obviously I'm hopeful, right? And I'm going to do everything in my power to heal him, because you want to believe that there are miracles. And even though the doctors already said there's only 6 months, and he's like, let's do this. So I'm like, let's do this. But then I also feel like, was he just like, because I cried at the appointment, and I was like, gosh, maybe he didn't want to be honest with me because he saw me crying. And I was like, that was probably the one time that I've let myself be weak, right? And I was like, God, maybe he just went along with me. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard. You want to be hopeful, but also I don't want to be in denial about it at the same time. So I was talking to my mom about it, preparing them, while I'm over here like, let me see, I got a plan A, and then this is plan B, if that makes any sense.
Yes. Did you find yourself grieving Ernie through this whole journey?
Definitely. So in the time that those 6 months that he stayed with us after they told us he couldn't, I was going to Yuma a lot, and I would cry a lot. Like, my life was like researching everything, like trying to find another. I just couldn't let it go, I guess. And but I was grieving who he was, because he was always tired. He was never, he wasn't Ernie. He was always sleeping around us, and I know he was always in pain. And it's really hard to see them in pain. You don't want to see your loved one suffering. You don't. And in and out of the hospital, I was grieving him, because it wasn't the Ernie that, we all know and love. The energy levels there. And then with cancer, so I don't know if you guys have heard, like, do get mood swings, and they're not fully themselves anymore. They're always medicated. Um, so I was grieving who he was. Our conversations always revolved around cancer. Towards the end, I bought some therapy cards to switch up the conversations for him to start hopefully healing and accepting that he might be getting closer to it, once we saw, like, you know, that he was getting worse. So I was just trying to have that conversation with him, in the sense that I wanted him to come back to Ernie. I wanted to talk to Ernie and not about cancer. So I missed having like those meaningful conversations with him.
How did you navigate hope versus acceptance? Like, when you were hopeful and then you had to accept it.
So for me, like I kind of mentioned, is like I was staying hopeful. I was meeting him where he was like, let's do this, optimistic, go lucky. And then me accepting it felt like betrayal to him, but also my way of accepting it, in a sense. I was like, That was me preparing my parents, not myself, but preparing everybody else. I talked to his kids, I talked to my parents, but I wasn't accepting it. I was like preparing everybody else, but I wasn't accepting it. Me staying hopeful up until the last moment, I think.
Oh, that's crazy that you would say that because you're preparing everybody but you. And then that's and now you know you got a chance, obviously, I'm just guessing, to say goodbye to him in your own way.
I know a lot of people think like, oh, you got to say goodbye. I don't feel like I feel like he had a proper goodbye, a farewell. Everyone came. It was beautiful, like the way people came by. But you're sharing him those last days, right? Everybody wants to have a piece of him. And then you're like, where's my time with him? I'm just here being the nurse. Like, I'm the one medicating him, feeding him. Me and my sister were like, like nurses. Like, we didn't have that one-on-one time with him where we can like say goodbye or say what we wanted to say. But then again, he didn't want to have that conversation. So we never had that time. As much as I try to prepare him towards the end, try to bring up like the end of life planning. And he just was like, no, I'm not going to put that out into the universe. It's mind over matter. It was always like lucky, optimistic, positive Ernie. And we were like, can we try, couldn't touch that subject with him. So it was really hard for us to try to get like that proper goodbye. Because just up to the end, it wasn't Ernie. He wasn't in all his senses anymore. Obviously, at his very last day, I mean, I held his hand all day, all night, and I mean, all I can say was like, I love you, I love you. I couldn't find the words to tell him, but I just repeatedly kept saying, I love you so much, brother, and it's okay to let go. And we got your kids. I know that's why you don't want to let go. Yeah, that was kind of how my goodbye was. I feel like there was so much more I wanted to say and I didn't get to.
Let me ask both of you, because obviously, do you wish it was instant and like how it was for us, Marta, or do you wish you could have said goodbye? I've had these conversations with people that have lost people instantly, like, well, no, that's easier because, you have no choice versus watching them deteriorate or leave, and I battle with it because I'm like, and I've had this conversation with my dad, and my mom wasn't, mi mamá era bien miedosa when it came to enfermedades. So for me, the way she left was like a blessing in disguise. And I thank God because I don't think my mom could have like dealt with cancer or any enfermedad. Mi mamá era bien miedosa, ni iba a los doctores. So in that aspect, I thank God. I thank you for taking my mom, how she probably would have wanted to leave, like quick. And the selfish part of me was like, I wish I would have known because then I would have not gone to the gym. I would have gone to the house.
For me, mom was so sudden, right? My mom was somewhat sudden, but she suffered. And that's what triggers me. My question a lot, how long did she suffer? Like, how long was she in pain? Like, how bad was the pain? Like, I want to feel that pain for her, right? Y cuestionando todo el dolor, todo lo que sufrió, esos días that led up to her being hospitalized. Because when I saw her that night, I thought she was as her normal infection that was just keeping her from eating, just sitting down on the couch, right? And to know that she was in more pain and we didn't even try to help her. None of us, not my dad, not me, not my little sister. We all just went home and my dad went to bed. And all I know is que a las 12 dijo mi dad que se bañó porque she was moaning in pain. Y dijo, vamos al hospital, ma. Y ella lo más le dijo que no.
Can you tell us a little bit about how people responded to your loss?
First, everybody shows up, right? Yes.
Yes.
But then they dissipate. Responded and they responded well. Then come the family arguments, which I didn't know existed when somebody died, right? The inconsistency of who was there and who wasn't there. The questioning of that behind that. Everyone showed up at first, and that's beautiful. But I think the ones that lingered on longer were the ones that have been through it. You know what I mean? Or the spouses, right? Or the siblings that talk to each other. But then there's sibling rivalry. And and you question this sibling and that sibling questions, us and the way we should do things and the way we shouldn't. So there's a lot of like people showed up and it was beautiful. It was beautiful, but people showed up for a minute. And it's understandable. They have their lives, right? But it was nice to see people I hadn't seen in a long time come together and mourn my mom and mourn with us. But how was that for you guys? I know, like you, Jazz, like todo Yuma showed up for Ernie, right?
Yes, during his whole journey, he had a lot of support, and so did I. I felt like the community and family, friends, everybody came through, and it was beautiful. Like he felt the love, even strangers. The comments that we were seeing from strangers, like on Facebook groups and Yuma, like, did you guys know about the guy that did the pizzas or the guy from Sprouts? Or everybody knew him, and they were like, oh, and like we were getting messages from strangers. That was just so comforting. That was just during and during the death, like, honestly, after he passed, I can't I think because maybe I live in Phoenix, people forget about me. I don't feel like I have the biggest support when it comes to grief, honestly. I have, like, a very small, maybe few people that check in and that I can talk to, and that's pretty much you guys and a few others. But yeah, I don't feel that I have that support, which is why I think I drown myself right now in like books and sibling grief groups, just trying to find my own. But then again, I don't know if it's me who I don't know because I'm used to being the one that listens to people, and I'm not used to bringing my feelings to other.
What about
Jasmine, I
you,
know a
Jazz?
lot of people are going to relate to your story because, well, Ernie, cancer is such a big thing. Did people start treating you like a griever before everything happened? Did you come across that?
I did. I definitely, especially with our closer friends or the people who have lost somebody to cancer or the people like they knew and they were like preparing me. I feel they were trying to like tell me what I wasn't accepting. And I remember getting like that face of like, oh, yeah, he doesn't look good. I'm like, well, you know, he he could get better tomorrow, like, and I was still like with Ernie going along with him, like, hey, still have a chance and there's still miracles. But yeah,
Yeah.
people did do that to me. How about you guys? Jessica, how did people react to your
Everybody
loss?
was shocked with my mom, for my mom because she wasn't sick. My dad's the one that had the health issues, but my mom no. It was just a shock for the entire family. My mom's after my grandma, but my mom is the monarchy. Nobody's taking her spot. The family it was just shock. It was like everywhere, like, ¿qué? La Marta? ¿Cómo? ¿Qué tenía? ¿Por qué? And then explaining what happened. Was she sick? Did you guys know? Like, no, we didn't know. We didn't know she was sick until we started finding little napkins with like, you know, signs that she knew she was sick, but she never told us. But oh yeah, it was just a shock for us and family. Um, she wasn't. My mom wasn't sick. She was on the road trip to Phoenix to pick up my niece. And everybody, when we talk about my mom's 2 years in, we're still in shock. She was beloved. Mi mamá era gruñoncita y era muy especial. She didn't like everybody. So when my mom told me she didn't like my friend, 10 out of 10 times that lady was right. There's something wrong with that person. So if I told you my mom loved you and you knew my mom loved you, you knew my mom loved you. Pero, so
Mhm.
I didn't know what to expect at her funeral, like just us. But no, she was so loved, and in the stories that people tell us, like I'm so grateful that people showed us how loved she is, still show us, or when they send me pictures of her, like, ay, tu mamá this, I miss your mom. Like those stories fuel me. Those stories make my that people keep her memory alive, kind of like Coco. Talk about my mama. Let's talk about her. But it was a shock. Obviously, we didn't see it coming.
It doesn't make it easier, right?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
I want to
And I'm
ask you
glad
guys,
that
what do you want people to stop saying when somebody's like in your situation? Like, what would be something that you wish that somebody should be careful or reward?
I personally, I mean, there's a lot of things, but personally pertaining to the at least you got to say goodbye. It's really not. I know. And I know because you guys, and it's vice versa. I probably would have been the same if it was vice versa, right? But it's because I honestly, we can't compare, right? We're both on the same journey. It hurts the same, but it hurts to see them deteriorating. I don't know if that it's any better. I don't wish that upon anybody. Like like you said, Jessica, you said your mom would want it quick, and nobody wants to suffer. You want to go out, like my mom says, with dignity. I don't want to compare it. It doesn't make it easier. It really doesn't.
Sorry, Martha. I just learned that when I was asking you, as you were explaining, I was like, you're right. I just learned that right now in this podcast with you guys. That's what I love about grieving. Not love of grieving, but that I love that we're doing this because that's what we're learning. I just learned that right now. For you, Martha? Yeah.
Say goodbye to her, like to her and done things differently. Pero was hearing from Jazz, it's like, would I? Mean, nadie sabe cómo nos vamos a ir, ¿verdad? And every way we leave, we're not going to accept it. None of us are. To me, it's hearing two things. It's hearing, three, ya déjala descansar. La otra es, your mom wouldn't want you to be upset like this, so cheer up. The fuck? And the third one is, every loss is the same. Divorce, friendship, and grief. That one triggered me. That one makes me want to slap someone. But how about you, Jess?
I think when people tell me, it'll get better. No, it doesn't get better. Oh, what are you talking about? No.
Yeah.
I'm never
Cuando dices-
not going to agree with my mom.
Yeah. Cuando dices dale tiempo al tiempo, it makes me think of, entre más tiempo pasa, siento que más me duele a mí. I don't know if you guys feel that. Porque es más tiempo que no la veo.
Obviously, you will miss her way more. I missed my mom too. 2 years in, I can only tell you that my personal experience, because everybody's a personal journey, my days aren't as draining. And I said that last time, and I hope that, and I know there's people that takes them years to feel that way, or never, or maybe will never. It'll be draining all the time. For me, my mom, I like right now I'm having a moment because I'm leaving her stuff, so it might trigger me the next couple of days, but I'll snap myself out of it with the puzzle. But they're not as draining. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not in the phase where you girls are. It's year one. I'm more like starting to I guess accept it. Like, yeah, okay, my mom's gone, but I still have now my journey. Like, but I have my dad, and I gotta, make memories. And darle el tiempo al tiempo is one of like, it's not for everybody. El tiempo isn't everybody's friend in every situation.
Yeah.
What would your mom, Marta, want people to know about her?
But wherever you're at. My mom was the type of person that cualquier persona que la necesitaba, she would secretly donate money to families who had kids in the hospital in San Luis, Mexico. Like things like that we found out later que hacía mi mamá, that we found out through other people. But if you needed her, she was either going to show up wherever you were at or show up with food and cook you a meal at your house. Ella llegaba con todas las bolsas así wherever she would go. If someone needed her, she would show up with groceries to cook for them. I think if she wanted anybody to remember her by, was her love of cooking and her love to show up for anyone, no matter who you were.
What about Marta, Jessica? Your mama, Martita.
Mi mamá, nada. My mom was really private. She didn't like anybody know in her life, but she was super private, my mom. But I think Mama, she was funny. She loved her sisters. She loved us. She lived for us, even though she didn't necessarily say it. Now that she's gone, we see it. Like, a todas nos decía algo, or, do something. Like, now that we all share stories, we're like, ay, mi mamá. I don't know what she would want people to know about, but I know that I want everybody to know that she was amazing. She was funny. She was a good cook. She was witty, super witty. Mama tenía comebacks for days. Her humor was really sarcastic. She was a babe. She was gorgeous. She popped 10 kids and she was in size 1, like, damn, girl. But I don't know what she would want. She was really private. Mi mamá era de las que, no, don't need to know. But I love her and I miss her. She loved us in her own way. All of us had our own special way. She loved my dad, even though she bickered with him all day. They were like the I Love Lucy legit. They were I Love Lucy. My mom would get into some shit. And my dad would just have to laugh it off. No, like, I'm Martita. I wish they would have had a show. They would have been better than I Love Lucy. I Love
I see
Martita should have been the show. What about Ernie? Jasmine, what would Ernie want to know? People want to know.
I see where you get it from now. Um, but Ernie, honestly, I'll keep it short because he was such a simple man and so humble. And if there was one thing that he would really want people to know is that he genuinely cared for humanity in general. Like he was so passionate about all things, everyone, like community. He was just a genuine soul.
How
That's
do you
amazing.
guys carry your person with you? How do you carry them? Like,
Me, I carry Ernie daily in all aspects. Like I in my car, I have his picture, so I'm reminded of him. He's my watch cover, my phone cover. That's how I carry him. I talk to him. I obviously in my mind and soul, and like he's with me all the time. But that's how I keep him daily in our lives, and how my kids, I keep them present.
How about you, Jess? How do you carry your mom?
I talk about my mom every day. I talk to her. I listen to her music. I do things for her still now that I would have done if she would have been alive. Like I just went to an Ana Gabriel concert that my daughter took me to for my mom because I would have taken her. I carry certain parties or events that I feel she should be there. I carry a necklace so she's there. And I live vicariously like for times for her. So every day I carry her. Like I don't have the pictures like Jasmine. I do I have a little corner in my house donde tengo sus fotos, pero I just do things thinking about her. Like I purposely will eat something on the menu. Oh, my mom would eat this. Or you know what I mean? Like that's how I live my life since she's been gone. Like, ay, voy a hacer esto porque mi mamá le gustaba. Like, it whatever pops in that day, that's how I carry her.
That's beautiful. For me, I carry it's her thought, the thought of her every day. Every thought in my mind. I mean, no creo que pasan 20 minutos if she's not on my mind. I could be working and she's like on this little corner, either speaking to me or me questioning her death. I know it's sad, but I do carry her. I carry a little angel that Isaac bought for me at the hospital when she was dying that I tied to her bedside and prayed for her. So that even when I go out, it goes to every purse I carry with me, and a little Jesucristo medallion that she carried in her purse that I found and I grabbed before anyone else did. And pictures of her, my phone has her picture. Every thought I carry, every thought I can, thinking, what would she do? What would she say? What would she be doing right now? I carry her by talking to her plants and watering her plants, and every breath. My favorite thing is dyeing my hair the way she always wanted me to dye it. The way she dyed it all the time was black, a dark brown. I went the day before her funeral, colored it chocolate brown. And ever since then, I've been carrying it the color she did in most of her pictures and throughout most of her life, because everyone says I look so much like her. So I want to be just like her. And I never thought I did. When she was alive, I would be, ay, mi ama. Ay, mi ama esto, mi ama esto. But I took it for granted. Because now that she's gone, there's nothing more I would want than to be with her and be like her. And I will carry that legacy forever.
Yeah, that is beautiful. I think we can all agree that whether it was sudden or anticipatory, it doesn't make it any easier. It hurts us both the same, hurting uh, for the same reason. It's loss. It's something that is so final and permanent, and it's just a void that we all feel. The way we get there doesn't make it easier. So I feel like I'm gonna end it with, I think that's why we need to, if I can say, that's why we should treat every day, right? Like it's our last, especially with our loved ones. Like you said, Jessica, don't take them for granted, because we don't know what tomorrow or today can be our last day, um, just to not live with that guilt or regret. And you kind of, because the goodbye is never going to be perfect. The goodbye is not perfect, and it's going to hurt the same.
Or sudden death, it's not easy. Either way, losing your golden is difficult. It's something you learn you're going to have to live with forever. It doesn't go away. There's no expiration date for grief. we'd like to know our viewers. Do they think anticipatory, I can't even say it, is better or easier than a sudden death? Or sudden easier, or do they understand both? That would like to know that. Like their thoughts or share their experiences with their loved ones.
Just like Jess, I learned a lot today hearing your side, Jess. How you guys had to prepare for Ernie and how I kind of longed for that for a while, but in reality have made me feel better at the end of the day. No, because a loss is a loss when it comes to grieving and death, right? I think it makes no difference. I think us three just realized that it hurts like hell either way.
Yeah. No, it definitely hurts and molds you into a different person. Not the same people we were when they were here. And that's what this podcast is about, getting through these moments, understanding, that there is no right, wrong way to grieve. We're all going to grieve in our own individual way and hurt as long as it takes. That's okay. There's no finish line.
Thank you for listening to IkeSat Podcast. If you enjoyed or relate to this podcast episode, please rate, review, share, and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, TikTok, Facebook, or Instagram. Next episode, we are going to be talking about navigating the changes after loss. Until next time, thanks for sitting with us.
Hi, I just wanted to say, más te quiero decir, hola. Más te quiero decir, hola, Ana Marta. Y te extraño mucho, ojalá que un día pueda darte un abrazo y un beso otra vez. Y ya sé que te tuviste que ir, y Dios te anda cuidando, y Dios anda mirando de ti, y ya sé que tú andas allá, con todos los ángeles, dando arriba de mí en todo lo que yo hago, cuando estoy caminando, estoy en la escuela o algo, ya sé que andas mirando arriba de mí, pero nomás quiero mandarte un beso y un abrazo y pudiera darte uno, y te amo muchísimo, mamá.